fund, Mayor? Where are we on next steps?
I don't know if Dan McCord is here, but Dan is meeting, I believe, with the environmental committee and actually going to make some other recommendations moving forward. We've talked to, we've done all we can with Auburn with the preliminary findings, and more or less left it kind of where we've always known. We've all done all this testing. I think people now are wanting some solutions, and I think that's where we're at now. We need to get together and talk about using David Staskel or others, but to somehow gather all the testing and all the data we have and get the environmental committee together and work with Dan McCory and get something back in front of the council.
Well, the one thing we did find out is there were 5 of the 9 that had a lot more human poo in it than it did duck and goose. So I think that was a real eye-opener for us. I think we all thought that it was more stormwater from animals, livestock. Cattle didn't even show up hardly in the report. So I think when you look at having triathlons and swims in the bay and fishing, we really need to get a handle on this.
And when we did the testing back in 2002, we found a lot of the septic tanks were on the south end of town that were going into the gullies and ended up down at the South Mobile, down at where that big drainage part goes through those apartments down there, those condominiums. We also saw the same thing when we did further testing with up towards the north when we had large rains dealing with Colonial Acres and some of the Montrose areas, because they're all on septic tanks. So it's not just related to one, but when those particular events happen and septic tanks don't work correctly, that's when we found out that they were going into ditches, and it eventually ended up in the waterways.
Well, the City Pier boat ramp was also high on their list for human poo, so I think there's probably a little more issues than just septic tanks maybe. So hopefully we can get an engineering firm to take all that information and give us some direction, look at drainage ways, piping, what we're doing, how we can change that, and maybe move forward with a different plan. Thanks.
Mayor, you want to